Welcome to Worst Case Scenario. This one's called Historic Coastal Boat Seeks New Owner. The old MV Taverner is up for sale and now's the time to act. The price has been slashed by nearly half to a mere $1.25 million American dollars. The Taverner is a 1,183-ton cargo passenger vessel built with two sister ships, the Hopedale and the Petit Fort, in Collingwood, Ontario in the early 1960s. She was first used as a ferry between Port-aux-Basques and North Sydney, but then became a coastal boat, working all around the province until the early 1990s. She was a pretty and popular boat, roomy enough for several dozen passengers and a ton of gear, which she loaded on board with a boom crane situated below the wheelhouse windows. She had comfortable cabins, a better-than-average galley, and an airy lounge where almost every evening passengers broke out guitars, fiddles, or accordions and practiced their singing voices. The Taverner made her last voyage down the coast of Labrador from Nain to Red Bay and on to Lewisport in 1993, and she made her last trip along Newfoundland's south coast in 1995. Marine Atlantic sold her 2 years later, after which she got a preliminary upgrade and went west to be renamed the Pacific Aurora. More renovations designed to turn her into a cruise ship deprived her of her crane, replacing it with a raised deck to enlarge the cargo space, which was converted into cabins. The formerly open deck behind the wheelhouse around the main funnel was also enclosed to create a new upper forward lounge. The engines, electrical systems, decks, cabins, crew quarters, galley, dining area, and wheelhouse were all refitted to provide room, power, and staff enough to take up to 82 passengers on luxury cruises up and down the British Columbia coast, something she never ever did. In fact, when she wasn't in dry dock, she spent all her time just waiting for one grand scheme or another to proceed, but they all failed. The company that brought the former Taverner to BC, Inside Passage Cruises Inc., went out of business, and the ship eventually became the property of British Columbia Discovery Voyages, a corporation formed for the express purpose of reviving the abandoned Aurora project. Discovery Voyages want to run weekly cruises from Port Hardy to many points on the BC coastline and islands. At $1,660 to $2,165 per ticket, the operators might have made a good living at it if they'd got it going. But the revival itself was abandoned. The Pacific Aurora was sold in 2007 for $1,350,000 US to Marine Growth Canada Limited, a wholly owned subsidiary of a Florida-based company that want to sell the passenger cabins off as timeshare condominiums. She was to be berthed in Vancouver, the sixth of a fleet of similarly used ships in various ports around the world. Operating under the name Waterfront Lifestyles International, the company planned to offer 22 condo units for sale, starting at $189,000 for a single room and up to $599,000 for a larger suite. The purchase price would not have included the annual $12,000 to $32,000 maintenance fee, but would have covered housekeeping, 3 meals a day, and frequent cruises to local beauty spots. However, like Project Aurora before it, this venture did not set sail either. Marine Growth Canada was declared bankrupt in 2009. The Pacific Aurora was put back on the market that year for $2,450,000. But apparently the global demand for small cruise ships is quite slack, and the asking price has recently dropped to $1.25 million. A steal any way you look at it. Since the former Taverner hasn't had any luck on the west coast of Canada, why not bring her home? The people who live on Labrador's north coast desperately need a good boat to provide a good passenger service, and there are many who don't need to take their cars along with them when they sail from port to port. If the provincial government takes back the $5 million Nalcor plans to use to subsidize the oil industry, it will have plenty of money to purchase this well-refurbished ship and have lots left over to hire a crew. The coastal boat could then resume her Lewisport to Nain run, and everybody could again enjoy the public service. I'm Michael Johansen in Northwest River, Labrador.